I can't listen to this song whilst I do my nightly routine and ritual of gardening with some medicinal, getting into that meditative state, contemplating my emotions, feeling deeply into my experience without crying. This song means so damn much to me. There's so much inside of it that I don't fully know why it affects me this way. Perhaps it's the end of the song around, like lovers entwined, we tangle endlessly, so give me the night, the night. That's those lyrics are so powerful because realistically everything that Sleep Token talks about is to do with the unconscious, is to do with the soul, is to do with ascension. And if you haven't heard me talk about Sleep Token in a mythopoetic, that's a weird way of saying it, in a mythopoetic way, talking Carl Jung, archetypes, a bit of Gnosticism here and there, a lot. Go check out my other video, Anima, a Sleep Token Theory. I didn't make that video. It sounds really dumb. I stepped out of the way and it came through me. Yes, I'm interested in Sleep Token. Yes, I'm interested in Carl Jung, spirituality, all different types of religions and practices and esoterica. However, I just stepped aside and allowed that to come through. That's enough rambling. Let's get into Euclid by Sleep Token.
Just run it back, give me 5 whole minutes. I am Victor on the inside burning. I've got a ghost in the hallway grinning and a heavy head that won't stop turning. If my fate is a bad collision and if my mind is an open highway, give me the twilight two-way vision. Give me one last ride on a sunset skylane.
Alright, gotta pause it there. The symbols, the metaphors inside. The unconscious works through signs, symbols, and metaphors, visions, intuitions. Language is a relatively new concept to humanity. The fact that I have to convey ideas inside of my psychology to you through making noises out of my face hole is so ineffective, it's not even funny. The symbols that he uses in his language, the metaphors he uses, is to convey a greater experience of what he is experiencing. This is the language of the unconscious, to speak in signs, symbols, and metaphors, to convey deeply unconscious material that everyone can relate to. The signs, symbols, and metaphors that he uses often around the unconscious, around the feminine, is water, earth, the Garden of Eden. It is around darkness, the nighttime. The night is reflective of the unconscious. In the Arthurian fables around the Knights of the Round Table, the hero's journey from Joseph Campbell, all comes back to Jung. But it's the story that weaves everything together. It's the story that congeals the Western world together. The hero's journey is the archetypal story that every single movie, every single great movie goes through, that every book goes through, that every character development goes through. There is the call to adventure at the start. Then there is the refusal of the call, then the answer of the call, the mentor steps in, then the descent into the unconscious, into the supernatural realm where magical things happen. And this is what the story of Sleep Token is through the major 3 albums. Like, yeah, the singles at the start before that, they're in there as well. However, it's really a story of anima possession, of reclaiming soul, of integration, unity, and ascension. This here, that sunset skyline, the two-way vision. It's daytime, nighttime. It's that polarity, duality aspect again. This is the merging of the two before we descend into the unconscious one more time. Let's get into it.
Me when you get the chance, I can feel the
sorry to pause it again, the ethereal nature of those lyrics just there. I feel the walls closing in. That to me is, it's like the worship aspect. You would hear harmonies like that in choir. You would hear it in church. This is the worship of the unconscious. It's call me when you get a chance. Unconscious, anima, sleep, his other half. Call me when you get the chance. I can feel the walls closing in. This is talking about poor mental health. This is talking about so many different things. In the song Atlantic, he's talking about an unaliving attempt. Waking up on a gurney, seeing all the doctor's eyes around him, feeling void, having them try to convey that they understand him, but ultimately they don't know the pain that he's in. This is more than just a physiological pain. This is a spiritual, this is a deep unconscious pain that Vessel is going through, that he's portraying so beautifully through the music, through his language, through the linguistics that's inside of it. It's gorgeous, to be honest.
Just running forward alive like wires as I see the past on an empty ceiling. I play along with the life signs anyway, but oh to God you don't know this feeling. Yet in reverse you were all my symmetry. A parallel I would lay my life on. So if your wings won't find you heaven, I will bring it down like an ancient bygone.
See the past on an empty ceiling. He's laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, like, are you going to come to me tonight? Am I going to be whole again? Or do I have to do this all over again? Being awake without your soul, without that animating spirit, that's not possessing you, that's not consuming you. That is the muse. It's the creative, juicy, just beautiful dynamic of masculine, feminine energies. Sitting there going, are you going to come to me tonight? Is the muse going to dance with me in dream world? Is the muse going to sit with me to play, to be intimate, to connect, to embrace? Or am I going to be alone? I hope to God you don't know this feeling, yet in reverse you are all my symmetry. Hope to God. God is the one, the unity. Believe what you want to believe about God. The book, The Kabbalion, talks about the 7 Hermetic principles. One of them is the law of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. You perceive everything mentally before you perceive it physically, because ultimately the physical world is not real. You hallucinate the reality around you. The universe is mental. Everything has to be consumed, processed by perception. So reality is perception and perception is reality. So God is the all that created everything. It's the unity, it's the singularity. It is the thing older than the Tao, older than polarity, older than duality. The first primal split of man, of consciousness, the fall of man, the awakening of good and evil. This is what we're talking about here, and it's so beautifully put. A parallel I would lay my life on. This is something that he's saying. He's bargaining with death. He's bargaining with reclamation, individuation. He's saying, I want to be whole again, but on my terms. I don't want to be whole when I die. I don't want to return back to spirit form, to soul form, to energy again. I want you here with me. The creative muse, please be with me. And then again, call me when you have the time. It goes into that. This is a plea. This is a prayer saying, please be with me.
Me when you have the time. I just need to leave this part of me behind. Do you remember me? When the rain gathers, and do you still believe that nothing else matters for me? It's still the autumn leaves, these ancient canopies,
remember me when the rain gathers. Rain, water, symbolism again. It's still the autumn leaves, these ancient canopies that we used to lay beneath. I speculate that a lot of his creative journey is from that innocent child place. He's curious, and then all of a sudden his visionary aspect left him, his soul left him, and he was left alone. There's this beautiful feminine aspect that he's yearning for, as most men yearn for the female, for the feminine. The last part here, the night belongs to you, this bough is broken through. The song When the Bough Breaks is talking the same thing. It's talking about sometimes when we touch, everything we love resets. It's that reset, it's union again, it's the joining of opposites, masculine and feminine. God, it's so beautiful. Sometimes when we touch, everything we love resets. It's heaven. And then also here, you try to look away from even when the bough breaks. You don't really love. You just hate to be alone. I believe that's, again, we're not talking about when the bough breaks, but I believe that is a dialogue with his anima, with sleep, with ultimately Eve, saying, you don't want to be alone. You can't be alone. You can't be away from me. The night belongs to me, but the daytime, you're so void. You're so desperate, and it's almost disgusting. Yeah. I think I might need to do a video on that as well. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's get back into Euclid. Again, he must be someone new. He must ascend. He must raise in consciousness and integrate, become a new version. It's that cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. He understands. He's at the precipice of transformation, of ascension, and understands, I have to let this all behind. I can't deal with this shit again. If he has to do it alone, he'll do it alone. But he ultimately wants his anima, his soul, to be with him. He's like, integrate, come with me. Like at the start of the song, if your wings won't find you heaven, I'll break it down like an ancient bygone. He wants her with him. He's like, no, we're doing this together. Come on this journey with me. If you're not going to be with me during the day through waking consciousness, being my anima, being my muse, inspiring me, possessing me to an extent, having that intimate dynamic between one another to say, like, let's do this together. Let's create something beautiful and new. Together though. It's integration, it's individuation. He's saying, please come with me. This bough is broken through. Those lyrics again. You try to look away even when the bough breaks. You don't really love. You just hate to be alone. Over and over and over. It says that 3 times in repetition in that song. And so he finally understands, I've got to do this alone if I have to. You need to be with me. I want you to be with me. But if I have to do this alone to become that new man that deserves you, that new, powerful, juicy version of myself, much like the Übermensch that Friedrich Nietzsche talks about, the overman, above all, creating new values, new morality, no more power dynamics, no more the will to power, no more master-slave morality. It's about creating that brand new version of humanity. He'll do it himself if he has to, but he really wants her with him. callback to the night does not belong to God is just, it's beautiful. The cycle is complete. The hero's journey is over. The whites of your eyes turn black in the low light. That's like a predator coming out. The eyes open, the pupils dilate, take up the entire thing. There's no white left. The way that humans have evolved, we've evolved with our iris to be smaller and to have the white around them so that you can see what is being perceived in the other person. The moment that the whites disappear and it's only black, you're about to become prey. You're about to be devoured, like the song Vor, talking about consumption. So much of Sleep Token's work earlier is about that consumption piece. It's take me over, possess me, give me that spiritual muse so that I can come through and create this beautiful art and these beautiful things in this world. But ultimately, it's the thing that causes his demise. It's the thing that causes so much pain, so much anguish, so much poor mental health. You know, talking about Atlantic again, talking about the cuts in his arm, the trenches being so deep. It's self-harm. It becomes parasitic almost when you allow the anima to possess you. So you become wildly emotional, wildly irrational. You do things that you wouldn't do if you were logical and if you were calm and if you were integrated. It takes control over everything that you do. It's much like it reaches up the back of your head and it possesses you, grips the back of your head and it points your focus at whatever it wants. It says, consume this, do this, take over this thing, corrupt this thing here, manipulate this thing here. That's what it ultimately looks like inside of men, and it's disgusting. It's putrid. I've been there. I've been possessed by my anima. It's hard to break through. Ultimately, it comes down to a crescendo, much like this song, where it just goes boom and it evaporates into this beautiful piano piece from The Night Does Not Belong to God. And it's a reclamation. It's a recognition that the cycle's complete. We're here. We're back at the start again. I'm back out of the supernatural world, out of the magical world. I've slain the threshold guardians, the dragon of chaos, and I've emerged triumphant again back into the real world, only to start the hero's journey again and descend into chaos again, to, like the Arthurian tales, to go find the Holy Grail, to go to the darkest part of the forest, to the feminine, and seek out that Holy Grail, the thing that you are least willing to look at. Carl Jung has a great quote. It's got a lot of great quotes, actually. No tree, it is said, can reach to heaven if its roots don't reach to hell. You have to go through hell. You have to look at your darkness. He also says, you don't merely become enlightened by staying in the light. You have to be with the darkness. And also another one that we'll leave here. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you will call it destiny and it will rule your life. You have to be willing to look at the darkness of you, of your unconscious, of your shadow, of all of your maladaptive coping mechanisms, of all the way that you treat other people, the way that you treat yourself, the way that you project, the way that you lie, the way that you cheat and steal, and all the other bullshit that humans do. That is shadow work. To look at the things that you don't want to look at. To shine your light of consciousness on them and to reclaim those parts of you that are no longer serving you. That's what it is to individuate. That is what it is to become who you are. To live by your own myth, to live by your own story in this beautiful, juicy, mythopoetic way of existence. To understand that there is a thing inside of you that is directing you, that is guiding you towards this. The Greeks called it the daemon. It's the thing that is your animating, possessing spirit that says, here, this is your path. Go run with it. Be all you can be. And ultimately, it'll beat you up when you're not on that path. When you're living by distraction, when you're living by bullshit. It will grab you and it will slam you, much like the feather, brick and truck analogy. The tickle of the universe saying, hey, pay attention, there's something coming up. Or a brick gets thrown through your window and chaos and calamity ensues. You'll have to pick up the pieces to sit with the fact that everything has fallen apart around you. Or if you're not paying attention to that, you're going to get run over by the truck. And that's where a lot of the time breakdown happens. That's where unaliving ideation kicks in. That's where animus possession kicks in. That's where you become almost ferocious in your way of protecting. It's self-preservation ultimately, because the highest prime directive of the unconscious is self-preservation. It'll do anything to keep you here, keep you safe. Not thriving, surviving. We don't want that. We want ascension. We want to rise up in consciousness to become all that we can be. And ultimately, I believe that's what Vessel is trying to teach us here with this, is to get back on that path, to come back into the normal world, to integrate, to ascend, to become that new version of you. I must be new. I must become something new. And ultimately, talking about in turning divine, we tangle endlessly like lovers entwined. That's the caduceus, the two snakes wrapping around the sword, the medicinal healing sword. 7 times. Funny happenstance, that is. 7 times, where the snakes face each other at the top with wings either side to ascend to heaven. And if your wings won't find you heaven, I'll tear it down like an ancient bygone. It's healing, it's integration. The 7 times that the snakes entwine around one another is the seven chakras. They meet together in the head, in the top, the crown. It's interesting symbolism from all around the world. And we get to sit and bask in the beautiful signs, symbols, and metaphors of the unconscious through bands like Sleep Token. So the next one that we're going to be doing is going to be the one that I use whenever I need to cry. Whenever I feel like there's pent-up emotion inside of me and I have to get that shit out. It's Evanescence, My Immortal. That song breaks me every single time. And I'm here for it to be able to present it to you so that I can give you guys some insights to how I process my emotions as someone who's neurodivergent, who doesn't feel things in the moment a lot of the time. Or it can be so void from it that I don't feel anything, I'm numb. Or it can be the opposite way and I feel too much. It's a way of, music is a way of me processing my emotions. And that's what ultimately what we're here doing with this new thing that I'm doing called What Consumes You. So much love. And also, if there's any songs that you want me to react to, if there's any songs that you want more breakdown on, more of my thoughts as a hypnotherapist and as a coach, more Jungian analysis, even though I'm not a depth psychologist or a psychologist in general, just a fan of it all. Or if you want something with a bit of a more mythopoetic spiritual lens to it, let's do that too. Drop them down in the comments. I had one the other week for Breaking Benjamin, so I'll be doing some of that in the future as well. But until then, much love, take care, and follow me to rise higher. You know what you need to do. Like, comment, share this around, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for all of the awesome things coming out of R.Y.S.E, because we're only just getting started. Thank you so much for being here watching another video. Much love, take care, and follow me to rise higher.